again for another 4 styles edit. So today I'm going to be editing a picture of a leaf that I took at Harlow Car in 4 different styles, as is the way. This particular image drew me mostly because of the veins in the leaf and the detail that we've got in there, along with the autumn colours, so the red freckles that are starting to come through. And it just looked like an interesting image to start trying to play around with and see what we can get out of it. So I'm going to dive straight in with image number 1. So the first thing I'm going to do here is take that temperature down. I'm going to try and eliminate a lot of the yellows, I think, in this picture. I want to get kind of like quite a icy tone to it almost. And I'm going to bring the exposure down, so even though exposure, ideally looking for like a nice curve in the top there, but I want to put a bit more emphasis on these light parts and contrast. We're just going to bring that up a little bit to get a bit more separation between the light and dark. So shadows will come down, and the highlights and whites, we're going to push those up a little bit. So that's going to bring out these little splotches of brighter colour and give us more white line. So I think it makes for more of an interesting image in terms of we've got the veins going through the leaf with the colours on that, but we've also got these kind of like tracks of light as well from the other leaves that were above, just showing it where it's going. So texture wise, I want to bring some of that detail out, so actually clarity will just give it a little nudge, not too much, and vibrance once again a little bit more, just to bring out some of those colours. Like I said, I think I want to take out the yellows and maybe some of the reds in this first image. So we're just going to go for more of like as much green as we can get in this one. So just a little bit, maybe not all the reds, but just a touch. And so we've got some kind of like blues going through here, leading to the reds, and almost like veins going through arteries. I'm quite enjoying that. Saturation on the purples and magentas, I want a little bit more of that. And similar with the blue, I wouldn't mind getting those a little bit more darker. So we're just going to bring the luminance down on them a little bit and push the saturation up and see where that takes us. So I've already brought the temperature down overall. Once again, in the highlights especially, I want to get a bit more of a blue overall feel. I'm quite happy with how it is in the shadows at the moment. So I'm just going to play around with the colour grading a little bit more. We're just going to get a little more of an off-balance colour on there. So just see. So it's not much on the highlights there. You can't really see what the change is immediately, but you can just see it just brings it down a little bit more and gives us that overall cold look, which I'm after. Okay, sharpening on this one. I mean, the image is just one taken by hand, so we focusing on the center of the image here. We're not going to get too much out of it, so I'm just going to leave this one here and onto image number 2. Oh, sorry, before and after. Always helps. So before and after. So image number 2. So this one we're gonna focus on those oranges. So the oranges that are trying to eliminate yellows, get rid of the first one, they're going to be the stylish show this time. Temperature up a little bit to kind of focus on those. Exposure, I still want to bring that exposure down a little bit, because I still like these shadows that we've got. Contrast wise, once again pumping that up a bit, and highlights, shadows, just getting a little bit more contrast in there. So actually what we might do at this point is start playing around with curves a little bit. So I've said I want to get a bit more yellows in, so we're going to get into the blue tone curve here, or the blue cyan, I think, blue channel. And we're going to start pushing everything more towards those yellows. And what we can actually do is put a S curve in here so we can focus on the highlights. And we just get an overall more warmer look to that, but we can fine tune that to the shadows and the highlights a little bit more. So these are starting to get really nice warm hues on them. I'm quite liking that. So coming down to colour grading a little bit more, and I think I'm gonna almost the inverse of what I've done on the over image. Bring the blues down, get rid of those, and magentas and purples, we're just going to take those out as well, and we're going to push the oranges and reds. And actually yellows, I'm going to push more towards the oranges, not too far, but really what I really like is when you do push down, you notice you've got these little extra veins that are coming out the side of the leaf, and they just really show up against the green, so they give us a very nice contrast against that colour. I think we'll leave that there. So overall, image number 2, before and after. So there's the before, there's the after. Okay, image number 3, wildcard. What do I want to do today? So I've been dropping exposure on all of these. What I might do, yeah, let's go more crazy. So traditional edit. So like I say, if I was editing a picture and trying to do a picture like for like and get it how it was on the day, and obviously these are very stylized, interesting edits or things that I try and play around with in Lightroom. They're definitely not how they look on the day. They're just more artistic impressions, I guess, is the best way to describe them. So if I'm trying to get something how it looked on the day, I'd probably more go for that classic curve that you see for the exposure, trying to bring it in line with that. So it was a bright sunny day, as you can guess, but still going for that artistic style. Let's take that contrast and let's go all the way up. Highlights, so bringing those down again, bring the whites down. Shadows, let's just bring those down a touch. And what I might do as well while we're here, bring a gradient in from the side, and that exposure is going to come down just a little, and this is almost going to give us like a style of vignette to the image. What I'm trying to do is not go too crazy, not to go too far like that. But what I want to do is try and highlight this vein in the middle and give it like an appearance like a road almost. So if I can rotate this just a touch, bring that over more, and I'm going to duplicate. And let's just rotate that around. So I think I could actually push those a little bit further. Let's duplicate both of those. Okay, so this is now getting to more what I was wanting. So this main artery down the middle of the leaf really highlighted. We've still got some areas over the top there. I might just put another gradient in just to reduce how much that's noticeable. There we go. I'm quite liking that. So texture wise, I want to bring the clarity up a lot. Vibrance, I've pushed the contrast, I just want to bring that down a little bit. But I'm not going to play with too much, so I'm going to put in a curve, really flatten the image out. So you'll see these colours start getting a bit more darker, murkier. But I don't want to lose too much of that colour and detail. There we go. So this time the purples, and mainly the magentas, we can get those. Let's go try and get the colours a little bit more unified. Saturations can come down just a touch on them, and the greens I'm going to just take down. So I love the colour of these little splotches on it, and almost like looking down on a mountain almost, even though it's a leaf. Yellows, let's just take yellows and reds just down a touch. There we go. I think I'm enjoying that. I'll leave color grading on this one, and we'll go and leave that one there. So, before, there we go, and after. Okay, image number 4. Straight into the black and white, as per usual. Exposure wise, I'm going to leave that as is. I do want to try and get a lot more contrast, so obviously what makes a good black and white image in my opinion is a lot of contrast between the blacks and the whites. You don't get too much in this. We know that there is some from the previous images, so the shadows, the intricate details on the veins on the leaf. So I should be able to pull them back out a little bit and add a bit more fun to it. So obviously with go contrast down, that's going to wipe them out. So I'm going to increase the contrast of those, and you start to see those colours are coming in quite a lot. But we do lose the detail in those veins, so we'll address that hopefully in a minute. So highlights, just bring those down a bit, bring the whites down, and now the shadows. I'm going to bring the shadows and the blacks right down. So I want to kind of really emphasize this dark shadow and how we've got it. Similar to last time, I want a gradient. Get rid of my default settings. So not too much, let's just duplicate that for simplicity. Then moved it over. Down a touch more. There we go. So from there, I'm actually going to take the clarity down a little bit, just to lose some of the definition. Almost like you're squinting at the image, just to see what it looks like. I'm going to leave the tone curve where it is for this one. I think I quite like the stark contrast in that. I don't want to muddy the waters. And let's go down to our tone curves. So I'm gonna, because this is a leaf and we want it to kind of like get that feeling of being a leaf still, I'm gonna put a very subtlest green back into it. And similarly with the highlights, we're gonna put some of those yellows back into the highlights. And there we go. So that's image number 4. So before and after. So as usual, let me know what you think inside the comments. Which is your favourite image? How would you have done them differently? Just generally give feedback. All good. And see you next time. Thank you.